It's time to talk fantasy football. It's time to let them know. Where you let us crunch the numbers while you crush the competition. So grab your playbooks and crack a cold one, because here's your hosts, Teak and Baney.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode. Today we're going to talk starts, but before that, I believe Baney has a trivia question for us.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Then we're going to move on to the mailbag segment here.
Perfect. Yeah, so I got a little player A, player B quiz for you guys. So I'm going to go week by week, and then you tell me which player you would rather have on your roster, all right? So player A, week 1, 15.5 points. Player B, 18.7. Week 2, player A, 16.7. Player B, 9.2. Week 3, player A, 11.7. Player B, 15.4. Which player would you rather have?
Dang, I should wrote these down.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like,
Feel free to ask any questions. What are you thinking?
can you repeat player A?
Yep, 15.5, 16.7, 11.7.
I'm going player B.
Player B, okay.
What was the first and third game of player B again?
Player B was 18.7 for week 1, 9.2 for week 2, 15.4 for week 3.
Yeah, I'm going player B.
Wow. Okay, you guys are smart. Smart cookies. Player A, fantasy points, 14.6. Okay, for the grand total. Average. Player B, 14.4 points average. Player B is actually Trevor Lawrence. Player A, Justin Fields. Justin Fields is 0.2 points per game average higher than Trevor Lawrence this year. How terrifying is that to think about?
I thought it was going to be a receiver. Honestly,
No, it is.
That's what I was thinking too.
Absolutely scary to think that Justin Fields is 0.2 points per game average higher than Trevor Lawrence so far this year. That being said, I think Trevor Lawrence will have a better rest of the season output. I think that offense is geared for that.
After this week coming up, correct?
Huh?
After this week coming up, he can start getting.
Plays Atlanta and London.
Atlanta's different overseas. They're a completely different team. Kyle Pitts gets activated. It's a great thing. Rooting for you.
The Jags' home country is London. They played 5 games now.
I think we're up there as well.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah, because I think we played Jacksonville the last time we played them. So that makes sense.
So that's I came across that on Twitter. One of the Fan Tracks writers was he posted that, and I was just like, man, it doesn't make me feel any better about playing Fields weeks 1 through 3, but I can't wrap around. I've not heard any slander for Trevor Lawrence, and I think it's maybe time that we do address that a little bit. That's scary.
And I think right now Trevor Lawrence is at one of his lows. I'm not worried about Lawrence, but
not for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Fields, turn it on, baby. I'm a fan. I'm rooting for you.
So here's my question to follow up that statement you just had. Not worried about Trevor Lawrence. Why? Because of weapons, or just
the rest of the year? I think the offense is better, and I think the coaching is better. And there's at least a track record of success for Trevor Lawrence. I mean, even when he had Urban Meyer as his head coach, he still at least produced. That being said, I mean, Fields, man, I think like, you know, in Facebook you get those like, I was marked safe from like this tropical storm. Well, like, I'm proud to say I was marked safe from this like abusive relationship I've been in with starting Fields, because I was able to trade him away after this week, and I'm marked safe, guys. We're good. We don't have to talk about it anymore.
So you're telling me you traded Fields?
He gone.
Oh my God!
What'd you get for Fields?
I can die. I can die a happy man. I don't
What'd you
have to
get for
hear about
Fields?
this train no more.
I don't want to air out that laundry. I'll tell it off camera. I don't want to. They listen. They're in the league. I don't need to make any enemies, but I did all right.
You
Let's
did.
put it that
You
way.
got Kenny Pickett, didn't you?
No.
You got Kenny Pickett.
Wow, he
I
must have.
knew it,
He
Baney. I
either
knew it, Baney. That's what you're supposed to say. For the record,
No,
write it down, viewers. He
so
got Kenny Pickett.
I did not.
so this guy is either a Chicago fan or he's drinking the Kool-Aid that Fields is gonna turn back to his old self and start running the ball.
Guys, it's
Yeah.
3 games. We weren't talking about Fields last year until week 9.
I will say his next 4 weeks he plays. He doesn't. I think he actually doesn't play a top 10 defense in I think 6 or 7 straight weeks.
Yep.
So I mean, he plays Denver this week.
What?
I don't know.
You-
I don't need to think about it anymore. He's gone. I don't have to worry about it. I don't
What?
have to.
You don't have to worry about it. But I brought this up last episode that they are going to have a cake schedule coming in.
It's like last year. Watch the value on FanDuel. Watch the matchups. You'll get him cheap, and then he's gonna have his games. I feel he's gonna get his flowers, like Teak says. I believe.
Somebody else's problem, and I will sleep so much better at night.
And I can't wait to
So.
hear this trade off air here.
I mean, not a bad trade for Kenny Pickett, Benny. I like it.
I would never do that.
All right, but moving on to the mailbag segment here. Let's get it going. All right, guys, we have another video submission here. I believe it's from Jeff Barnett. So let's run the tape and see what he has for us here.
What's going on, Let 'em Know podcast? My name's Jeff Barnett, and I have 2 questions for you. The first one is, after week 3, after seeing all the teams perform, which 2 teams from each conference are going to make the biggest push to the Super Bowl? And then the second question is, after seeing what Raheem Mostert has done the last 3 weeks in a row, scoring 13, 27, and 45 in most leagues, where do you think his trade capital is this season? Do you think it's high, or do you think people are going to start selling him low because they're not sure of what's going to happen with the backup running back situation in Miami?
All right, guys, that was a 2-part question. The first one we'll go over first here is, what 2 teams from each conference have the best chance going to the Super Bowl? Start with you, Badge.
So, I mean, this for me, good question, Jeff. Is this Captain Ghost, by the way? I think it is. But easy for me. I mean, how can you not talk about a team that just scored 70 points without one of their best weapons, Jalen Waddle? You know, I mean, yeah, Tua. If Tua can stay healthy, I mean, look out for this team. I mean, that to me. The Bengals haven't been looking like the Bengals. The Chargers, we talked about them. That defense is a little sus. In the AFC, it's looking like all Dolphins. I hate to say it, but Dolphins in the AFC.
Who'd be your second team for the AFC?
To me, I'm going with the Niners.
AFC, bud?
In the AFC. Oh, I thought we were doing AFC, NFC.
He said 2 from both.
Oh, 2 from both. Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear the question, Mr. Captain Ghost. Second team in the AFC. I mean, to me, it's got to be the Chiefs. So it's a no-brainer there. I mean, I think we might have a little AFC Championship preview and battle for the 1 seed. So, I mean, Mahomes, now they just signed the free agent. We all saw her, Taylor Swift. Look out. I mean, you got Taylor Swift on your team? I'm just kidding. But Kelsey, Mahomes makes everyone better. That defense has stepped up big. Chris Jones signing is huge. So, yeah, the Dolphins and the Chiefs are my 2. So
NFC?
We'll go down to AFC first, and we'll loop back around for the NFC.
Perfect.
We'll do it that way.
I think that there is, without a doubt, you have to rock chalk. You have to talk Chiefs until they prove that they're not them anymore. I mean, I think even if they were a wild card team at the end of the year, you'd still have to consider them the top threat to make it to the Super Bowl in that conference. Um, Miami is just incredible, man. That offense is ridiculous. I think the defense is yet to be desired. But that being said, if you can hang 70, make it a
Yeah.
track meet. Also, I mean, the Bills, man, if they can get things really rocking, I know I really wasn't on board at the beginning of the year. There was a lot of drama coming out of there, but hey, man, when it gets snowy and it's cold and the fans are throwing snowballs and it's a different atmosphere, it's a different environment, and if they got to come up there and win, then Buffalo's built for that. So I think that they could make a little end of the year push and surprise some people. I think. I'm super concerned about Joe's calf. I think everybody is. It was nice to see Jamar finally get activated and come to life. Saved me this week in fantasy. But yeah, I think until proven differently, it's Miami and it's the Chiefs. And maybe, I don't know. I feel like in all of our lifetime, the Patriots were in this conversation every single year. And I don't know if it's PTSD, but I can't ever get Bill Belichick out of the back of my mind. So I don't know if they make a push at the end of the year, but I definitely think it's going to be Miami and Kansas City for the foreseeable future this year. So, Teak, how we feeling?
Yeah, you can't argue what Miami's doing right now. Um, Especially putting up those numbers like Badge said without Waddle. But on the other side of the ball, they're going to get Ramsey back here. So
Oh, I forgot about that.
so Ramsey's still sitting on the sidelines as well, coming back. Jeff Wilson's coming back from injury here shortly. So they're going to load up pretty nice. Um, and Tua, I believe, only has one sack on the season so far on him. So they're doing a great job protecting the QB. I would like to see someone get in there a little bit more. I want to see how durable Tua is. That's the only thing that scares me about picking them. But they're going to be my first pick. Everybody's going Kansas City as they should. Um, Let me ask you guys, point differential. Obviously, we know the Dolphins putting up 70. They have a 59 point differential right now between the teams they play.
Oh,
Guess the team under them, only 3 points behind them.
Is it Dallas?
In the AFC,
Oh. Then I don't. Is it Buffalo then?
that's the
well,
Buffalo Bills with a
Yeah.
plus 56.
gonna be a great game this week.
Buffalo's sneaky good. So that's going to be a division matchup. I'm looking forward to it. So those are going to be my top two picks. Um, just looking at those numbers, that impressed me really. I thought Miami was in a league of their own. But yeah, plus 56. It's a hard stat to look away from. But moving on to the NFC Badge.
So I had a little spoiler, as you guys saw. I'll start with them. I'm taking the 49ers. I mean, how can you not? I think they're the best all-around team in the NFL. Yeah, I know the Dolphins put up 70, but I mean, this defense is stout. This offense is stout. These receivers and weapons are great. Running back is best in the league. I mean, I'm going the Niners. I saw something today. It kind of like bugged me. Someone said Brock Purdy was overrated. How is this guy overrated? I mean, he's 8-0, 9-0 in his career. I mean, the guy does not turn the ball over. He's a game manager. He can make the big play. I'm a huge Brock fan.
If anything, this guy is underrated. He was picked last in the
Exactly.
draft. So
Exactly. So that's why I saw that. I'm like, kind of confused me a little bit, but I'm going Niners. So should I jump right on my second team?
yeah, go ahead. What do you got
All
for us,
right.
sir?
So I'm kind of like teeter-tottering here, okay? I got to go with Baney. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, I know there was concerns in the first 2 weeks with the offense. They did look different. They looked like something was a little bit off. Jalen looked a little sleepy. He woke up last night. He looked like himself. I think they're just going to keep stepping up, stepping up, stepping up. That pass rush is unbelievable. I don't think any team can last 4 quarters against it. That offensive line is one of the best. Those weapons are phenomenal. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles behind the San Francisco 49ers. And when I meant teeter-tottering, I was going, we them boys. But I'm taking the Eagles. They got the edge in my eyes right now.
Yeah, so I originally at the beginning of the year thought this was going to be a 3-team race. I've been saying that I thought this was the 49ers' year to go to the Super Bowl without a doubt. The team is just, I don't know if there has been a better built team in football for as long as I can remember. I feel like every position on defense is completely loaded, got better. They got Hargrave. The offense is just ridiculous. CMC is everything and more. Dallas, I thought was going to be better. I thought week 1 it was the greatest defense to ever step on football field, and then they lost Diggs, and now they lose to the Cardinals, and I don't know. They're blowing up in the media after one loss, and I love it. It's great. But I mean, yeah, dude, it's the Eagles. Come on, and the Eagles don't even look good. Like you said, Jalen woke up. He looked terrible during the Tampa Bay game. That was bad. You've been watching too much Kenny Pickett because that was bad football. Just
Whoa.
terrible.
Shots
Whoa.
fired.
Dude. Jalen is not look good. He's looked slow. Like you said, sleepy, I think is a great word to use. The media, the team came out and said he was playing with like the flu or something. A.J. Brown said he was sick as well. But I'm not buying it. The defensive line, however, incredible. Jalen Carter, everything and more. Because Jalen Carter, did you know he has more quarterback pressures than Aaron Donald already this year? He does.
I believe it. That
It's
D-line is
true.
no joke.
Dude, they get the ball, doing all that stuff, the turnovers back to back, incredible to watch. Yeah, hopefully that continues. Hopefully the offense does wake up. It's great to see the emergence of the run game. But that being said, I think the 49ers are going to be. Dude, I don't know where they lose in their schedule this year, to be honest with you. I can't find it. They play Philly right around like Thanksgiving, Christmas time area. I'm not looking forward to the holidays. Eagles get Dallas, Kansas City, and the 49ers are like right in a row. It's going to be brutal, but that being said, I don't know. Hopefully Dallas keeps unraveling and Philly can just ease into the playoffs. That'd be great.
Yeah, and I meant Jalen keeps getting each week getting better, getting better, getting better.
I understand. I get it. I just
I
had
don't
to
think
like.
I don't think he looks like he did last year by any means. And they all had the flu. They must have been smooching each other.
AJ
Gotta get
Brown
back.
playing talkies. He said he had talkies for the first time. He'll never
We're
do
cutting
it
into
again.
TK's time here.
Well,
These
is the
Eagles
most
keep smooching.
it's the most important time there is when I'm on. Just kidding.
I agree. We love you, and I
Sam,
love Tuesdays with the boys.
San Fran would be my pick also with the Eagles. I think you guys cleared it perfectly. I just have no trust in like Dallas has a great defense. Don't get it twisted. Their offense has a lot of weapons. They should be putting up, I believe, more points. Um, they did put up more points so far than the Eagles, but I feel like they should be on that Miami level. I really do with those weapons. But I'm just not sold on if Dak can get it done. I'm really not.
He
I just
can't.
so
History repeats itself every year.
so
So.
I gotta go Eagles and Niners follow suit.
Yeah, and I mean Dallas. Every team, I think we can all agree, always has that one game where you're like, geez, they looked awful. I think Dallas's game just came early. I don't think they're bad. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think, You know, I mean, I still believe in the Cowboys. I think they might be able to get it done, and it's going to be a battle between the Eagles and the Cowboys, and I'm excited to watch that all year. So,
All right. Moving on to the second part of his question here. Obviously, I believe this guy has Raheem Mostert if he's asking this question. Do you hold on to him? Do you trade him at his peak here? Badge, what are you doing with Mostert if you have him on the roster?
so I mean, if you can take advantage of this and trade him away, I would. I mean, I know he had a great game. I mean, phenomenal game, one of the best in history, in a long time. But trade him away if you can get a lot for him. You know, I mean, don't forget Waddle wasn't there. They got Tyreek Hill. Tua loves to pass the ball. Trade him if you can get a lot for him, and it betters your team. Get him, dump him now. Take Wilson, sell while you're high. You know, that's how I feel. I mean, you can probably take advantage of somebody out there who needs a running back. So if I had Mostert and I'm set at running back, like I'm gonna take as much as I can for him, as quick as I can.
Yeah, I am a full blown addict for wide receivers, and I think this year has proven that wide receivers are literally ruling fantasy football. And I don't think you're ever going to see a performance like this again from Mostert. And that being said, Achen's back there just doing the same exact thing, and then we've been talking about Jeff Wilson. So I get his productivity's been good. If you're thin at running back, then you're just going to have to keep riding him out and hoping you get this week after week. However, I mean, there's a lot of leagues out there, especially deeper leagues, where people are thin at running back and they might be willing to overpay for this guy, and you got to take advantage of those guys. And yeah, I like I said, man, I have no problems turning a running back into a wide receiver and reaping the benefits. I mean, that's where I stand. I'm just not a big running back guy, especially the guys that are over 30 with leg injuries in their history. Yeah, it's a shame because I feel like we're kind of putting a lid on the fire for this Mostert Nation, but the reality is it's 1 week. If he's done this 2 or 3 weeks in a row where it's just insane stat lines, then yeah, maybe it's worth holding on to because it's a league winner. However, 20,000 foot view, it's a 31-year-old running back with a history of leg injuries. So I think if somebody's willing to oversell, then I'd pull the trigger before they can sleep on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow suit with that as well. Even if you don't need a receiver, if you can get a higher value receiver, maybe turn that guy into a running back, I'll go that route. You get the most value you can and trade it for what you need then if that's what it takes. Um, just so I want to go through a couple players. If you guys think you can get this value out of Mostert, all right?
Yeah,
Do you think Jacoby Myers?
absolutely.
I like Myers, truthfully.
So you think you can get that value with Mostert?
I think that it depends on the I hate to say like the skill level of the league that you're playing in and like, how adamant people are. Like people are simple and they like see the numbers. They see the big number and they don't see the big picture. And I think people could get drunk off of this performance and maybe make a trade that like I said, they wouldn't if they would sleep on it. So, yeah,
Jacoby Myers. All right. How about Michael Pittman?
I don't
I'm
know
I'm
if I
go
would
I'm
move him for Pittman.
I would personally keep Mostert.
I would.
really over Pittman.
Here's why. I no hate on Pittman.
I'm
I got
big on
hate on
I
Pittman.
know
I'm big on Pittman this year.
I'm a Pittman fan. I'm a Pittman fan. Richardson's coming back. He likes to run. He has not he had two pass completions over 20 yards. He doesn't like to throw the ball downfield. I don't know if they're just using him just to get his confidence up right now. But
Let me cut in real quick. So Pittman didn't play not Pittman. Richardson didn't play week 3, right?
He
yeah,
didn't play
week
last
1 and
week with
2.
the
Week
concussion.
1 and 2.
All right. Just going off that. So when Richardson wasn't in, he got 11 targets, 9 catches for 77. That was week 3. When Richardson was in, he got targeted week 1 11 times. Week 2, 12 times. First player to have 8 catches in 3 consecutive games. It's Michael Pittman. So when Richardson's there, he's still seeing those targets and those catches.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm a Pittman fan, but I mean,
You're saying he likes to run and throw the deep ball.
well, it's only week 3 too, so I can't really judge off that.
3's a trend,
I'm
like we
just
talked about, Baney.
it is about
Yeah, you
trends
still
and
have to
trend up, trend down.
still need to make up for what he did last year. I still need to see it. I don't know.
He had
I
a
think you could get. I think
38-year-old
right
Matt
now.
Ryan.
Yeah. He put up a Kenny Galladay season.
It's obviously
Yeah.
it's a total turnaround right now.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
think I would ride
Wow,
most.
I can't
I would ride
believe that.
Mostert.
And honestly, I think right now you can get the way fantasy players play. They overreact. So I think you get more than Pittman
All
right
right,
now.
next guy.
If you trade him now,
Next guy.
there's a lot of impulse
Do you think you
out
can
there.
get Zay Flowers?
I think someone would do that. I mean, we just saw Zay Flowers get traded for Cam Akers in our league.
So yeah,
I
that
mean, a
did
guy
happen.
who's hurt every year, traded to a new system. Zay Flowers and Cam Akers got swapped. So yes, I absolutely think you can get Zay Flowers for him.
So just give you guys the full picture though. The guy is stacked at wide receiver. Doesn't need Zay Flowers.
He is loaded. He is loaded.
So there is some implications what we were talking about. Do you think at this point right now, can you get Higgins for Mostert?
Dude, I think Higgins' stock
do
is
that.
as low as it's ever been.
I would do that.
And he's hurt.
Oh,
Didn't he lose
obviously
the game?
you would, yeah. Do you think you can get that though? Obviously you would do that, but like, you think you can get that value?
Absolutely. I think someone with Higgins would do that. Because if they drafted Higgins, they probably took him in the 2nd and 3rd round and need a running back. And like I
I was gonna
said,
say if they're thin enough at RB, I think they could get drunk off that number to make it make sense. If you pair that with the Burrow injury, Higgins not starting off. I mean, he had that one big game for sure, but I don't know if you watched the Monday night game. He couldn't catch a cold. So I don't know. Like I said, people get crazy, especially this time. If they're 0-3, probably getting a little panicked. That hits a little different than 0-2. But I don't know, man. People are crazy. Like I said, it just depends on the experience and the player level that you're playing with in your leagues. I could see somebody doing it, and I could see somebody definitely benefiting from it if they were able to pull that off. That's crazy.
All
yeah, I
right.
just think Mostert. There's a lot of mouths to feed in Miami. I mean, Waddle wasn't there. Hill is he's gonna have over 2,000 yards. I still believe that. He believes it. We all believe it. I would do that all day if I own Mostert.
All right. Well, that wraps up that video segment. I hope that answered your question and gives you a better determination what you're going to do with them down the line here. But, all right, week 4 stardoms. You know the drill. We're going to start with the QB position. We're going to work our way around the horn here. Tossing off to Baney. Who do you got at the QB position, Baney?
So this is it's gonna be wild to hear, especially if you're a longtime listener. Geno Smith is my start this week. As you know, if you've been with us from the beginning, he was my number 1 player to fade this year, and my reason was for his strength of schedule at the end of the year. It's a gauntlet. However, he gets the Giants this week, and it's gonna be awesome. Dobbs, Purdy, Dallas blowout. That's what the Giants have produced this year from their defense. Geno's had nearly 300 yards passing in his last 2 games. DK and Lockett look incredible. Yeah, I don't know if there's really much else to say. I think Geno's going to carve this up. The game itself doesn't make sense at all. I don't understand how Seattle's a 1.5 underdogs. I don't understand anything about this game. I just think Geno is going to pick them apart, and it's going to be a casual little 300 piece, possibly 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, Giants defense, horrendous. Going to get ran off the field again, and it's going to be awesome. So, Badge, how do you feel?
Yeah, I like the pick. Benny. So Gino week 1 scared me. Not gonna lie. He keeps getting better. Week 2, better. Week 3, better. That quick release, phenomenal. I like Gino because of his 1-2 punch. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. I mean, that opened up. You got 3 stud receivers. I think Gino each week is going to get better and better and better. And like Baney said, this matchup against this Giants defense, they haven't been solid. I like Gino. I like that start.
I like the start too. This week, like Benny said, down the line, he's run into a gauntlet with San Fran twice, almost back to back. That end of the schedule I'm looking at is so play him now, play him.
It goes San Fran, Dallas, San Fran, and then he gets Philly, and then gets Pittsburgh, and then sprinkled in there is also the Browns, who are like the number 1 pass defense right now. So, end of the year, gonna be rough. However, like I said in the fade video, first 4 weeks you're gonna think he's a rock star. This week he's gonna be a rock star. It's undeniable this week.
All right, Badge. Moving on to you. Who's the QB you're starting in week 4 here?
So my stardom, I mean, if 10-man, 12-man, 14-man leagues, you're starting this guy regardless, unless you plan for it. FanDuel, shout out, give us a sponsorship. I'm asking you every week. My stardom is Justin Herbert against the Raiders. So the Raiders over the past 3 games been one of the weaker teams to the pass. We all know that. I mean, made my boy Kenny look like a stud. Gave me hopes my offense is back. I don't know if they figured it out yet, but that's another time. I'm gonna read you boys some stats. So Herbert in 6 games, career games against the Raiders, 101.6 passer rating, almost 2,000 yards, 14 TDs, and 1 interception. 6 games against the Raiders. That's an average of over 300 yards, 4.6 TDs a game. This is a no-brainer. I'm paying for him in the FanDuel lineups, DraftKings lineups. I'm starting him in my lineup. If you got him, boys, I might even pull out the old deed, Herbert and the Raiders. I might get one, boys. He owns the Raiders. No-brainer. Start him.
I like the start. I think you're going to start him no matter what week. Just a little thing too, which I just noticed. I'm looking at his stats right now. Every game he's gone up a touchdown and 100 yards passing. Week 1, 229 and a TD. Week 2, 305 and 2 TDs. Week 3, 405 and 3 TDs. Like you said, he averages 4 TDs per game versus the Raiders. Can we see a 500-yard day from Herbie with 4 TDs? Could you imagine?
Bainey, I do have one more stat before you go. I left out. This is big. So the Raiders defense, and I bet them, like you guys saw in the first episode, the Raiders defense allows 75% passer completion to opposing quarterbacks. So I'm going to leave you guys with that, and then I'm going to pass the buck to Bainey.
I am so excited to be a Keenan Allen stockholder this week because he is going to get 20 plus targets. I'm saying 20, 22 targets, I bet, this week for Keenan Allen. And like you just said, that completion percentage for Herbert is just going to be surgical all game, and it's going to be awesome. But yeah, like Teek said, you're going to start him every week no matter what. This week, you're going to be a lot more excited to start him than normal. Get your another deed printed up there, Badge, because this dude definitely owns this team. The Raiders are not good, and I think they have a lot to prove and work on. So I can see them just getting up and staying up, but also not really running the ball out because Joshua Kelly has been horrible. So I think, I think that they're gonna be awesome. I think this is a great pick, great start. Especially like you said, DFS lineups. You're definitely gonna be willing to pay that price this week.
Pay him.
That's a good little ad that you put in there.
So for my QB, um, I was gonna do it for you guys. I wanted to get the shock and awe, but instead I went a different direction. It was gonna be Fields this week.
Kenny
Believe
Pickett?
believe it or not, it was gonna be Fields for me.
I'm kidding.
Because I feel like this is the cake part of the schedule for him. But I backtracked. I don't have faith in Fields, even though this would be the week to start him. I'm going Brock Purdy again. Brock Purdy looks like that offense is revving up his arm. Went from about 26, 27 attempts on average to last week 37 attempts. That helps Christian McCaffrey a ton. You don't even imagine. That does take some snap count away from him, so the injuries will be lower, even though he does throw to Christian McCaffrey. But they're playing the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals didn't lay over like we thought they were gonna, but they're still not that amazing team either. So I'm rocking with Brock this week. Let me know what you guys think.
Yeah, man, rock out with your Brock out.
I love it.
He's just, I mean, yeah, it's not gonna be the prettiest thing. It's gonna be dink and dunk, and it's gonna be it's it's gonna be points. It's gonna be touchdowns. Everybody said he wasn't gonna be able to maintain this 2 touchdown a game pace and all these stats, but he's done it. And I don't know if that's the Shanahan offense or if that's just him being worth every dollar of admission because he's been the real deal. Debo's been great. Ayuk's been great. I understand he missed last week, but Ayuk is their best receiver by far. McCaffrey, without saying. That offense is just unreal, dude. It's like the Avengers, and Brock Purdy just gets to reap the benefits week in, week out. So, yeah, I think he's a little better than we all thought. And he came back from that injury a lot better than and a lot faster than we thought. It's pretty impressive. I thought it was going to take a little longer than this for them to be firing on offense with him, but he looks great. And like you said, it's the Cardinals. If the Cardinals win this week, man, I might put a future in because that's incredible to beat back to back those defenses. Josh Dobbs to the moon, but yeah, I don't see that happening at all. I think Brock Purdy's going to be surgical, and it's going to be great.
Love it. So when this team last year, Trey Lance went down, Jimmy G went down, this guy Brock came in. I'm like, dude, these guys are done. But I'm going with Bane. I'm gonna rock out with my Brock out. I fucking love that. I love that. So I love it. This guy surprises me every week. This guy's a baller, and I love it because I love the underdog. He was a last pick of the draft. Yeah, I love the start, Teak.
All right, moving on to the running backs here. Danny, who's your running back going into week 4?
So I had a running back written down, and then I started watching the Monday night game, and then I crossed that running back out, and I wrote DeAndre Swift down. I know I said fade the entire running back room in Philly. The reason being is we got no clarity. We had no answers. The coach was telling us something different every week. We get to week 1. Rashad Penny's a healthy scratch. Kenneth Gainwell's supposed to be the promise guy. Boston Scott, yada yada. And then Swift gets nothing in week 1. Well, what's he done since then? He's ran for 305 yards in the last 2 games combined. That's a real stat. It's insane. The Eagles' offensive line is insane. It is just like I don't know, man. It's historic what they were able, how he's able to build. Washington has given up 122 rushing yards to Denver, 168 rushing yards to Buffalo, and 96 rushing yards to Arizona. That's 386 total rushing yards. If you think any of those teams have a better rushing offense than Philly, you're out of your mind. I could see this playing out where Philly gets up early on Washington and we just see a Swift fest the rest of the game. And I would argue that this is the elite Kelsey and Swift duo in the football music world. Okay? It's this. DeAndre Swift has been worth that trade if this is all he produces, because this has been incredible to watch. The life force in that team is completely different when he's on. They keep trying to give Gainwell the ball. It's just stop. Just give this dude the rock and just let him go to work, man. I'm glad we finally have answers on what the roles are. I don't know if we were trying to ease him in and see if he would hold up, but yeah, this is not your Detroit Lions Swift. This is Philly Swift, and it has been awesome. So I could see he's got 305 total yards these last 2 weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if he puts another $130 on that this week. So that's my start of the week.
So I'm glad you mentioned with the Lions and Swift. I was huge on Swift last year. I took him in the second round in a few leagues. Seeing him healthy and running the rock is a breath of fresh air because I'm a Swift fan. I mean, the Eagles are number 4 in run success rate in the league. Eagles' offensive line is number one of the best offensive lines in the league. I mean, I don't see how you can't start him. I just don't think that. I know Chase Young's there. He's coming outside. I don't mind the start at all. So yeah, Swift, big fan. Philly, been running the ball great. So I will take that as a start. Take.
Yeah, it's actually nice to see him healthy. See him on the field. That was the big thing. And staying healthy. Hopefully he stays healthy for the whole season. We'll see, but he is, and he's on the field. He produces. So
Dude, hurdling a safety 15 yards down the field. I was the only one in my basement, and I swear the neighbors heard me. I was just going nuts. It was awesome. It was in that moment where I crossed off. I had Zach Moss. I had Zach Moss down. Guess what? He's gone. Out of here. Not thinking about him again. It's Swift.
there you have it. Badge, running back for week 4.
So my stardom running back. I know this guy's been up and down. I'm going Alexander Madison. I know we faded him. I know Baney's not a fan. I see value in this matchup, Baney. So let me tell you why. So the Carolina Panthers have allowed 100 yards rushing to running backs and 50 yards receiving to running backs, coming off a solid week fantasy-wise against the Chargers. I like the matchup. I mean, I expect the trend to continue. Well, that defense is going to try and slow down JJ. They're going to focus on that pass. I think Alexander Madison could be a sneaky start here. I mean, I know Cam Akers is there. I don't think he's going to go in and take over anything yet. But I'm rolling with those averages. I'm taking the numbers, and I'm rolling with Madison this week with that matchup. It's great value.
I know I have Alexander Madison in probably 2 league. But I saw in week 3, I liked. I really did. They revved up his attempts. He averaged about 9 attempts per game. They revved it up to 20. So if you're a shareholder in Madison, that's a great sign. Hopefully that trend continues. He did have 93 yards on the ground, and he did a decent amount in the passing game. 5 catches, had 7 targets. I mean, I'll take those numbers week by week for Madison.
He's quit fumbling, but yeah, I'm
That
going with
that's
numbers
the
here.
main concern. Yep.
I think my favorite thing I've seen since the trade was I think somebody had a tweet that Akers and Madison are going to have the ultimate mid off between running backs. I can't think of a better word to describe this guy as mid. He's a Dollar General Dalvin Cook, and it's only because he looks like him. He's a third of the talent. Um, that's all I really got to say, man. I don't know. I have a hard time evaluating talent of players when they go off against like the Chargers. Chargers defense is horrible. Um, that's really it. I do not like this start, and that's because I just do not believe in him. And if the Vikings believed in him, they wouldn't have went out of their way to try to get another running back in there. I think, especially Cam Akers too. I think I'm very low on him. But hey, I trust your judgment. You hit on these starts fairly high rate. I mean, this might be the week if you and yeah, I'll leave it at that. I think you do a good job, and I think that this This could be his week. It could be. Maybe he finds the end zone. Maybe he secures the ball a little better. I
I,
can see it.
he's,
And again, I'm not going with the player. I agree with you, Benny. Madison is a Dollar General guy, but he's gonna get fed. I'm going with the matchup. So
I respect it. That's
numbers.
the name of the game for sure. Matchups.
Panthers have been giving up 100 yards
I think
on the ground and 50 yards in the air. I think they're gonna hand it off. So yeah, I agree with the Madison.
I don't think Beanie was hating on the pick per se. I think Beanie
Oh
just
no, I know.
hates on
I know.
Madison
I,
that bad.
yeah. And that's
100%.
why I said we faded him. Some people faded him. I was kind of up on him with the draft, but then watching him, the guy can't hold on to the ball.
I
He
mean,
fumbles, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? So
I wish I
I
had.
mean,
He had career lows across the board last year, and then like they acted like they couldn't wait to move on from Dalvin Cook, and I just don't understand why. And I think from what we've seen so far this year, I get it. Like I was saying, you're seeing upticks and stuff, but I don't know. And as far as that offense goes, the offense goes through Kirk and Jefferson, and they're 0-3. So, like, are you going to rely on Madison to get you a win, or are you going to rely on Kirk and Jefferson to get you in that win column? They've shown it in the past. They'll throw the ball 40 plus times, and whether they're up or not, I mean, oftentimes the defense, they're not up, so they're coming from behind, and the game script results in them passing. But I don't know, man. It just depends what Carolina team you're going to get. Truthfully, you get the feisty one or you get a rollover layup. And if you get the layup, then yeah, Madison's going to pound the ball maybe, and yeah, what you said is going to play out. I could see it honestly. And Teek's right. I do not like the player, but it sits and starts, and that's matchup based. And I think you made a good pick.
Moving on to my pick, another one I don't think Beanie will like.
Battle of the Bane. No, I'm kidding.
Well, it is going to be the battle of the bads. I'm going, if he has to do anything, it's this week. I'm going Javonte Williams this week against Chicago. It's the battle of the bads. And on the guy on the other end, Khalil Herbert, I'm not a fan of either. So this is the lesser of evils per se. Give this guy the rock, dude. I mean, he's averaging close to 4 yards per carry. I just feel like they got to feed him. I don't think 11, 12 carries a game is going to do it. He's, I believe, a volume back, or it gets him going when he has more attempts. And this is the perfect week because there's nothing like a Chicago week to get an extra bye.
Yeah, it's an extra bye week. Um, yeah, Chicago is terrible. I don't get it, but Denver is also terrible, which I mean you're more than thrilled about because you're like number one anti Sean Payton fan club member of the year. Um, but that being said,
Hey, they
like
used
you
to.
said,
Hey, just to cut you off real quick, they used to have the worst coach there in Denver. He's never gave up 70 points.
yeah, it's crazy. Like you said, I think you phrased it correctly. That I mean, Williams, just give him the ball. Like, I mean, I know I made my statements very clear and my fades very clear on him this year, but you haven't really got to see him do anything. Like, they have not. Like, there's been like halves where he just disappears. And to be honest with you, like, if their goal is to bail Russ out, like, I would think dump offs in the running game is the way to do that. And there's not, like, at all. And I don't know if they're just trying to let Russ fail so he can just get his guys in. I don't know, but like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't understand what is happening in Denver, and I could see this being your Javonte Williams breakout week. I could see it.
I got a question for you boys. Do you boys believe in karma? Sean Payton talking smack on Nathaniel Hackett. I think that had a little bit to do with it. If you believe in that sort of thing, but in all seriousness, I think they're going to hand the ball off. I mean, I'm surprised people didn't get fired after this week. I mean, giving up. And I didn't think the Broncos defense was this bad at the end of last year. That's what shocked me the most. I mean, the stats, saw were fairly good, and then they just give up 70 points. So I believe to get that ball rolling, they're going to have to give the rock, hand it off. I mean, Russ was trying to sling it, keep up with them, and just didn't work, clearly. So, yeah, Javante, I mean, I think he's going to have a game.
All right, moving on to the wide receivers here, Benny. Who do you got at the wide receiver position?
Yeah. So we're gonna take a trip to the nursing home. We're gonna wheel out our favorite old relative, take him out, see the sunshine. Let him get the wind in his hair. We're going to Adam Thielen. Yeah, waiver
Nice.
wire hero this week. That's who we're going with. Dude, I can't.
This guy was prepared today.
Hey, I just I had a motto last year, and that was start whatever wide receivers are playing the Vikings. Whether that's DFS, whether that's your waiver wire targets, it's target whoever plays the Vikings defense because they're going to give up a crazy amount of pass yards. Vikings defense, I think, got worse, um, and we're going to reap the benefits from it. Josh Palmer. Okay, I'm trying to think of like a relatively skill set receiver value wise that you can compare Thielen to. So third string receiver for the Chargers, Josh Palmer. 4 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. That's 16.6 points for full PPR reference last week. Um, if you paid attention, you watched the recap episode we talked about. Thielen was a top 5 fantasy scorer last week, and he got a monster amount of targets to do so. I can see that repeating this week. I think Thielen has 51 combined fantasy points in the last 2 weeks. And cap all this off, revenge game. Everybody loves a good revenge game. Vikings thought he was too old, couldn't he keep it together. KJ Osborne was his replacement. KJ Osborne was terrible. They ended up drafting, Jordan Addison. He's been great, whatever. But the reality is Thielen had 107 targets in that offense last year, and he's just getting blistered with targets now, especially with Andy Dalton there. Vikings defense can't stop a cold. I don't think that they're going to have an answer for him. I think he's going to run his little 8 to 10 yard routes and just eat all day. Yeah, and if you run DFS, I think he and Andy Dalton are going to be a must pair duo this week. And I think you'll be able to do it at a nice little budget that'll make roster building friendly. So, yeah, not a name I expected to make a start list this year. I think he was written off before the year even started, and I think he has outperformed anybody's expectations. So, Thielen to the moon.
Yeah, great point, Baney. So when I drafted this guy, everyone threw me my AARP card, and they thought I was nuts. But that veteran presence, and I think Andy Dalton actually makes him better to AARP card holders. Yeah, so I don't disagree with it at all. I mean, I like it.
He looks sick in that Carolina blue, too.
You bring him in for a reason, and the guy looked like Thielen from 4 years ago. So
Yeah,
give me that AARP card all day.
I like the start, especially when Andy Dalton's the one throwing the ball. I think this is, to be honest, not a start if Bryce Young's there. To be honest with you, even though Minnesota's that bad at defense, I just think the pressure, they can't put pressure on the QBs. They don't have that depth in the DBs, I think, to hold strong. So, um, yeah, I like the pick. But moving on to my pick, this guy's been struggling. We talked about him in a couple scenarios already where you might trade him, but it's going to be at a low end. Uh, I called his bounce back week in week 2. I'm going to go with him week 4 here, and that's going to be T. Higgins. Injured? Sure, maybe. Drops? Yeah, we've seen it last week. Deserves a bounce back week. I believe this is going to be it. The Titans, on average, 29.3 fantasy points to receivers per game. So, and the target share is there for T. Higgins.
Yeah. I One bad game for T. Higgins is not a reason to run away from him. If you really were worried, you could say Burrow's calf. But Burrow seems adamant he's playing, whether that leg's hanging off or not. I was willing at this point. I needed Jamar to score and win me my league this week. I was willing to cut my calf off and drive it to Cincy. That's what I was willing to do. And I think, like you said, target share for T. Higgins, whether Burrow's hurt or not, he's still not scared to pepper this guy. And target share is, I think, without a doubt, the most important fantasy stat for a wide receiver. Whether it's leading to production or not, it at least gives you the most opportunities possible. So I think it's a good start.
Yeah, as a Steelers fans, everyone's talking about the Bengals. Are they going down? Are they not going to make the playoffs? I don't believe that at all. I mean, they're always a problem. They're always a second quarter team, third quarter, end of the season. I mean, T. Higgins,
Can I just say something, Badge?
28.
I just love how I pick an AFC North team and you're struggling talking good about them. I just see it. It
It's tough.
hurts.
It's tough, dude. I mean, dude, look at my background. I got a fucking Steelers tattoo on my leg. It's tough, but we're talking fantasy. We want to make the boys some money. I'm not writing any of them off. I mean, the Bengals, we beat them week 1 last year, and they ended up smoking everybody. So I'm not writing Burrow off. I'm not writing T. Higgins off. The guy has almost 30 targets in 3 games. I'm a big T. Higgins fan. I was bummed out when he got drafted by them. I think he's gonna have a big game. Burrow looked better last night. I mean, he looked more comfortable, hitting some big clutch throws. I mean, yeah, I'm a T. Higgins believer. As much as it pains me to say, Teak.
All right, Badge. With the wide receiver position here, I know you thought I forgot about you. I didn't.
Yeah, I thought you did. I was getting a little worried, but so my stardom is very simple. He's playing against the Chargers defense. So that's Jacoby Myers. I just read to you Herbert's numbers against the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders are going to have to throw the ball, whether I know Jimmy G's in concussion protocol or not. They're going to have to throw the ball if they want to keep up with this team. I think Josh Jacobs is going to be out of the picture within the first quarter. They're going to be slinging the rock. The Chargers defense is soft. I think Jacoby's going to have a big day, and I think Devontae Adams can help that, fade some of that coverage. On paper, I didn't think this Chargers defense could get worse, but there were some injuries that happened. We don't know if they're going to play. I don't think air traffic control is going to be out there during the game. So I think they're going to be slinging the rock. And my start of the week for receiver is going to be Jacoby Myers. Baney?
It's a great pick. We did our our breakout player of the year episode at the beginning of the year, and I think this is the one player that flew completely under our radar. He didn't make either of our lists, and I think without a doubt he's running away with that possible title this year. I think he's outproduced any expectations set on him, shattered his ADP value. Yeah, if they keep getting the ball, I think he's just gonna make fantasy owners really happy. Could be just a late round league winner for a lot of people. And this is a matchup where I don't think it matters who's throwing in the ball. I think we coined the phrase. What did we say?
Someone
TK. It
has
didn't
to.
matter if it was a mini fridge throwing the ball on Mars to Devontae Adams. He was gonna eat. Well, against this defense, it doesn't matter who's throwing the ball. Jacoby Myers is going to have a great week, great matchup, great start.
Yeah, I like Jacoby Myers a lot. But Jimmy G is definitely a different type of quarterback than what they have back in a month, without a doubt. So that does scare me. If that's the only devil's advocate I would play on Jimmy G, because I think Jimmy G is doing fine fantasy wise for these wide receivers out there in Vegas.
Rolled
They
that
got
ankle too.
Boyer the Destroyer, if they want to go with him.
Talking about
I mean-
AARP, like that dude is like ancient.
37. Him and Dalton just went. They were just hanging out in the park, feeding the
The birds.
ducks, the birds.
Jeez. But moving on to the tight ends here. Bainey. Who's your tight
Good.
end you're starting for?
You guys are peppering me with running backs that I can't stand. I can't wait to put this stress on you this week. I'm going Buffalo Bills tight ends. Okay? I'm talking both of them. Knox, Kincaid, if you got them, start them. Okay? So, Miami has given up 766 passing yards. All right? Bulk of which has gone to tight ends. And they have, what is it, 23 targets between the two of them. And if you take out Washington, they blew Washington out. So odds are they probably would have thrown the ball more if it was a competitive game. So I would say that target share could have probably gone up for either Kincaid or Knox. And truthfully, Buffalo's going to need all the firepower it can get. We saw the 70-point performance. Everybody knows that. They're going to need these guys. They're going to need Kincaid in the slot. They're going to need Knox in the red zone. I think that whether or not you agree with the names, you have to understand the situation that they're going to be in and that they're going to need these guys if they're going to try to keep up with Tua and Tyreek, and if Waddle's playing. It's just going to be a track meet out there, and it's going to be all hands on deck for Buffalo. If you follow my TikTok, you would have saw a different name. I did a waiver wire pickup for Musgrave. I love his matchup this week as well. However, I think Knox and Kincaid are going to be a requirement to stay up with Miami this week. So, interdivision rivalry. Who knows what you'll see? It could be a 6-3 game, or it could be 70-58. Who knows? So I'll pass it on to Badge. Badge, let me know how you feel.
Bainey, that's funny you said that. I had that same thing written down. I had Buffalo's tight ends, but I found something else I wanted to talk about, but I had it written down. Like I said, we talked about it every episode. I watch all these dumb Dolphins games. Not dumb, they were exciting last week, but because of my wife just walked in. But her whole family watches the Dolphins games. They all hate Dawson Knox because he always scores a touchdown against his team. He always puts up points. And now you got Dalton Kincaid to defend. She's still standing right here, making me uncomfortable. But anyways, I like to start Buffalo's tight ends. So great pick, Benny. I had it written down. Take.
I see his blood pressure just skyrocketing.
As you all know, I'm not a fan of Dalton Kincaid. I told you to fade Dalton Kincaid and rather pick up Sam Laporta. I think Sam Laporta is the tight end this year. He's proven
Well
that
documented. Should be
well documented.
well documented.
I got a signed auto.
So Knox, yeah, I can see a touchdown out of Knox. It's like you said, randomly. It seems like this is the game he always does. Kincaid, targets were down big time against Washington. He only had 2 targets. Same with
In a game
Knox.
they won by 30 points. He's
Yeah,
running James Cook.
yeah, and Knox had 2 receptions as well. Uh, I don't know, man. Miami's not no pushover on defense. Yeah, they're gonna need all the weapons they can get, and I feel like these big time games, they're gonna try to force it to Diggs like they always do. That's just how Buffalo's ran. Nothing's changing. You can see that they drafted this tight end high. They're really not targeting him that much. So I don't know.
Also, like you're saying, not a pushover defense. I can agree with that. However, the offense just scores so fast that it seems like the defense is out there longer than other defenses. Like Tyreek streaks 60 to the house, 2-play drive, 45 seconds, defense back on the field. Like Buffalo's good enough to capitalize on those opportunities, but I don't know, man. Like I said, it's just they need these guys this week, and if there's ever a week for them to step up, it has to be this week, or else Miami's going to put them on a poster, I think. So
I'm excited to watch this one. It's always a battle with these two teams.
Moving on to your tight end badge.
So, my tight end, I'm going back to the Bay Area. A guy we all faded once again. And our boy, Brock, keeps impressing. I'm going with George Kittle. So, here's why. The Arizona defense over the past 3 weeks gives up double-digit targets to these opposing tight ends. Again, I'm going with the numbers. Brock always seems to find that guy. So week 1, it was Ayuk. He went off. Week 2, it was Debo. And Kittle had, I think, 8 receptions or 9 receptions. Can't quite remember.
He had 9
I
in
think
week 3.
9. Oh,
9,
okay.
9 targets.
What about receptions?
7.
Was it 7 receptions? Okay. So I think week 3, it's going to be Kittle's turn. So, of course, if you combine that with CMC and that, I mean, seems like week to week, even dating back from last year, Brock always hones in on one guy. And with this matchup against the Cardinals defense, they love giving up these targets to tight ends. I love Kittle this week. I see a lot of value in it. I'm taking Kittle as my stardom this week.
yeah, I had Kittle on my top fade list on my episode, and that was just because he just is streaky. Like you'll get weeks like you did the first 2 weeks of the season where he barely cracks 5, and then Purdy just picks him and just hits him with every target on every drive, and then his fantasy value goes through the roof. But that being said, it's like it's just hard to pick and choose when he's going to give you this production, this value. And like then it's hard to choose because he's such an asset in the run blocking game that I feel like he's basically just another like lineman out there for most of his, play time. But yeah, I don't know if Purdy makes him his guy this week, then yeah, he's one of the top tight ends in football. But if they game script it where they're going to run the entire game, then it sucks because he's fifth round value, his ADP was 50, and then you basically just have a lineman on your fantasy lineup because he's just run blocking and then maybe gets one target. But Arizona, it's not really a tough matchup, so I think it's safe start for sure.
Yeah, I like to start because his targets are going up. Week 1 he had 6, but dropped down to 3. And this week, like talent badge, it went back up to 9. So it looks like
I
Arizona's.
used being out too. That helped.
Yeah, that did help. Is he back this week?
I think so. I think he's a full go.
So with him being a full go, maybe he still gets 5, 6 targets. Still good. What he does with them is to be determined, obviously. But I
Yeah, I
mean,
think Ayuk being back helps it. Now they got to focus on those two. And I think he's going to be the guy,
but yeah.
especially with that track record with the AZ's defense.
Yep. But I'm going with my tight end here. I hate to say it, but I know it's going to happen. I'll give you guys the play-by-play. I'm going to wake up bright, shining early to watch these Falcons over the pond face these Jaguars, and I'm going to wake up and I'm going to watch them demolish these Falcons. It's playing out in my head already. It's going to be like a repeat of the Lions game, and I'm going to see, and this might be my prop bet. I'm going to go Evan Ingram anytime touchdown.
Not a
This
bet. You heard the prop bet, boys.
he's the number 4 tight end right now in the league. He's last 2 weeks averaged 8 targets, 6 and 7 catches. No TDs. I think this is the week he gets his TD, and with a struggling offense there in Jacksonville. I mean, Atlanta's defense no pushover, but they can't rush the QB at all. Their sacks, I think they only have 3 sacks of the year, and that was doubled in one game last week by the Lions. I think they had 7. So Atlanta can't get pressure. Trevor Lawrence is a good QB, and he has the weapons around him. So hate to say it, but this might be an anytime touchdown bet for me.
Yeah. If you caught us at the very beginning, we did a little fun trivia thing, and we discovered that Trevor Lawrence is struggling to start this year off. However, it'll be a get right game. What people don't really talk about is how grueling it is to go to London. It changes, your sleep pattern, your times, your workout times. You get off the flight directly from the flight, you go to workouts and do all this stuff. Jacksonville luckily has done this year and year in and out, and like you said, I think Atlanta's played a game or two over there as well. But they're ready for this. Lawrence has been through this. He's ready to go. Ingram was there last year, obviously. I think, yeah, I hate to say it. I mean, I have a future on the Falcons, but I could see this being a get right game for that Jags offense, and Evan Ingram is a crucial part in that offense. So. Yeah, I definitely could see this panning out and you getting your prop bet cashed.
So I'm gonna go on the record here and talk about these two boys, Baney and Teak. They put bets out there, and I want them to share them with you guys. We're putting this down as a prop bet. Evan Ingram, anytime TD. These guys hit, and they don't like to share it. I'm trying to get them to share it. We got prop bet Baney or prop bet Poppy. And we got to come up with a name of Teak, but this guy puts bets out there, texts me, and I'm like, share it, and he hits them every friggin' time. So I'm locking that in as a prop bet right now, and I like the start. The only thing with London, though, I mean, yeah, Jags go there a lot, but there is no home field advantage. I mean, Falcons been there quite a bit too, right, Teak? So, I mean, I think this is anyone's game as far as that goes, but I do believe that Evan Ingram's going to get a TD there. So I like it.
All right, but that does wrap up the tight ends. I hope you guys like the starts. I know, hopefully you guys tuned in to the previous episode. Tomorrow we're coming back again, right at you with another episode of the sits. Last week that blew up. We'd love to see the reactions, the comments. Please, 60% of you are not subscribed to this YouTube channel. So you hit that subscribe. It is totally free whatsoever. Means the world to Baney and Badge. So smash that subscribe button. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Let 'Em Know Fantasy Football Podcast. Join our community and
hopefully we can get some
follow us
Kyle
on all
Pitts
socials,
over the pond
or
too.
keep up with the episodes on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.
E9.